Hello, everyone. This is Steve Parr. I'm the Association of Mission Strategists for the Gwinnett Metro Baptist Network. I'm so glad that you joined this webinar. We prepared it specifically for the pastors who are part of our network. However, you may be watching from one of our other churches or associations in the Northeast Georgia region, and we're glad that you're watching also. I want to introduce some men to you and then talk about potential international missions partnerships with the country of Peru. I'll give you some of the background of that. But before I do that, let me introduce our guest. We're so glad to have with us today from the Georgia Baptist Mission Board, our missions consultant for the Northeast region. And Keith and I have been working on these missions partnerships that I'll talk about in a few moments, and this one specifically. We served together many years, but Keith Ivey from the Georgia Baptist Mission Board. Keith, how you doing, brother?
Steve, it's good to be with you. It's good to be with your pastors. I'm excited about this partnership and what the future holds.
Very good. We also have with us from the International Mission Board to talk about this potential partnership. We're glad to introduce Joe Bushing of, again, the International Mission Board. He's the Gateway Cities team leader in Lima, Peru. And I'm meeting Joe for the first time, pretty much as you are, as you watch this webinar. And Joe, we're so glad to have you. And Joe, where are you at right now as you say hello? Where are you at right now?
Well, right now I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina, but I want to say hello to everyone in Georgia. We are actually sent out by Wildwood Baptist Church in Ackworth, Georgia.
Excellent. And then we're also glad to have with us one of our pastors in our network. As a matter of fact, Jerry and I have just been in my position about 7 months now. One of the first conversations I had was with this pastor, and he pastors a Hispanic congregation in Lilburn, Georgia, New Destiny Church. But he's from Peru, from Lima, so he has a deep background there, and a new member of our network and just a dear friend. I want to introduce you also to Jerry Alcorta. How you doing, Jerry?
Doing fine. Glad to be here and then ready to connect with some of the churches in Georgia.
Well, let me talk real quick about what we're doing here. Keith, myself, the Georgia Baptist Mission Board, our network, along with other associations in Northeast Georgia, we're trying to facilitate Acts 1:8 missions partnerships with our churches and with churches locally, nationally, and internationally. As a matter of fact, on our webpage, www.gwinnettmetro.net, you can go find under the resource tab and under the mission serving our community, a webinar about locally. We're serving the 3044 zip code. It's in Lawrenceville, Georgia, not far from where I sit right now. And while there's one church for every 3,000 Georgia residents, that is Southern Baptist churches. In that zip code, there's only one Southern Baptist church for every 18,600 residents. It's one of the most unchurched zip codes in all of Northeast Georgia. So we've been facilitating partnerships there for our Gwinnett churches and churches from all over Northeast Georgia. So I'd love to talk with you more about that. But also, we've initiated partnerships nationally in New England. These are church-to-church partnerships. Again, you can go to our website. You can find more information. It's a brief webinar you can view about that. And Keith and I would love to connect you with churches in New England also as we carry this forth. But this is the third of those. We go to another level internationally. We're facilitating missions partnerships in the country of Peru. Now, let me say this. We're not asking any church to stop doing any partnership that you have. But the reality is maybe you're looking for a partnership, or maybe you're a smaller congregation and you don't have a personal interaction with an international, national, or local ministry opportunity. So what Keith and I are doing on behalf of our network and the mission board, we're saying no matter what size church you are, no matter what size budget you have, you and your congregation can be involved in missions. And so that's what we're doing right now. So Keith, you want to talk a little bit about the genesis of that, how it came together, and pick up on what I was just saying about our strategy here?
Yes, Steve, we started in the new strategy, a regional strategy with the Georgia Baptist Mission Board, believing that a strong church is a missionally engaged church, and the Acts 1:8 vision that was given by our Lord is for every church, and we are to be his witnesses in Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, the uttermost, and we're interpreting that as local, regional, national, international. It's exciting to see churches get that vision and to begin to say, how can I engage? There's different levels of engagement. There's so many ways to do it. An association can do it. A group of churches can do it. An individual church can do it. And it just really brings the opportunity for us to really be on mission and support what God's doing around the world and nationally in just ways that a lot of churches have yet to do. And it's an exciting time for them.
Very good. Jerry, let me ask you a question. Being from Peru and growing up there, I know you've been in the States, I think, since the 1970s now, but I know you've still got connections there. Now, having lived here in Northeast Georgia, just talk to us a little bit about culture, about need, about what's going on in Peru, and what the missions opportunities, from your perspective growing up there, how you might encourage pastors to consider this as a potential partnership. What would you say, Brother Jerry?
Yes. Well, I'm glad that I'm able to share with you some of the possibilities in Peru, particularly in Lima. My assignment is to connect churches with the Lima area, or not only the metropolitan area, but the department of Lima. So yes, I was born in Peru, and I've been going to Peru every 2 or 3 years throughout my time here in the States. I've been here 46 years in the States, so it's a long time. I was talking to a pastor early today, and he was telling me of the different needs that are there. Number one, he mentioned evangelism. They're want to reach people in various ways, having gatherings or going outdoor and preaching the gospel. He was telling me that he got 30 people coming from the States, and particularly from Texas. And the 30 people that went, he trained them in one day to use the cube way of evangelism and presenting the gospel. He paired them with people to witness, and they went to a park. And soon enough, because the multitudes are there, they went around, they started sharing the gospel, and people started coming to Christ. And they would share the gospel in 5-10 minutes, and a lot of people came to Christ. And then they invited those people that came to Christ to the meeting that they were having at night. They had a supper time, yeah, and then the church that went provided so that they could have that. And after that, they had a meeting, and they were able to see a lot of people coming to Christ. So there are many ways how they can be used to share the gospel, like in that setting. He also talked to me about the need of training, formal training, like pastors or people that could make the trips and teach the Bible. And there's already a plan to do that, and for pastors to go and do short-term teachings and train the people there. So there's a need for theological and Bible teaching there. And the third thing that he mentioned is there is a lot of family needs. So family conferences will be a good thing. And besides that, of course, there is things that the youth can get involved with other youth there. Now that we're with this thing of the pandemic, you can even connect with the different groups virtually. They have a need to practice English. They have a need to reach out to the women. And there's this pastor that is reaching already in his network and gathering ladies virtually, and they're teaching them virtually. So with an interpreter, even from the States, you can do a whole lot of stuff, or making the trips like a mission trip and get involved with the things they're already doing, or any ideas that one may have here of things that you may want to do. You can also bring them over there and just offer them, to the churches.
Thank you. That's good. Now, Joe, let me ask you this to pick up on what Jerry was sharing. Talk about the religious landscape in Peru and in Lima, and spiritually the needs, and how churches, if they have opportunity to make their way to Peru eventually, the type of things that would be of great value to advancing the gospel in the country of Peru.
Well, thanks again for this opportunity to share. In 2017, the IMB in cooperation with Lifeway Research, did a religious worldview study on the city of Lima. And what was discovered and confirmed, and probably Brother Jerry can also speak into this, Lima is a very religious city, very religious. There are the Catholic churches are there, the traditional Catholic churches, historical churches for centuries. Well, when we talk about that, what we did is we dug deeper into the beliefs, the belongings, the obstacles that exist, the barriers to the gospel. And what we found is that people are open to discuss the gospel, but what was important is to be able to contextualize the gospel in the worldview from where they are. The city of Lima continues to grow. It is estimated now in the latest census, it's over 10 million. And some people would say it pushes close to 12 million, 1/3 of the country live in the metropolitan Lima area of Peru. But also you have people groups coming in from the mountain region, also from the jungle regions. And as people are migrating in, you also have different clashes of worldviews. Now, what we say with all of that is there are lots of opportunities. And with that, we are at the IMB, we are partnering with different networks, both from a Peruvian Baptist convention, associations, and independent networks, in order to get the gospel into every nook and crook and cranny that we can find in the city. But also we look at it as a three-legged stool. One of the things we do is it's about making disciples and planting churches where there are no churches. The second part of that is the global side. As Steve, you had mentioned Acts 1:8. So with Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, and to the ends of the earth, as Georgia participates in this, in missions in Peru, when you think of that Acts 1:8 vision, what part of that vision would a Georgia church be participating in? It would be to the ends of the earth. But you'd be partnering with churches that are working in their Jerusalem and Judea. But ultimately, what we want to be able to see, and this is the second part, is a global movement. As God is raising up churches in Peru, he's also calling Peruvians to the ends of the earth. And our third part is building partnerships and networks in order to get the gospel, to see that Revelation 7:9 vision fulfilled.
Very good. Well, I want to say to our audience right now, if you're watching this, this is just an introduction. But one thing I want to point out, if you didn't catch that Joe said, just in Lima, in the city of Peru, there's about as many people, the city of Lima, Peru, there's about as many people there, if I heard the math right, that are in the whole state of Georgia. So you can imagine the volume of need just in that one city, much less the rest of the country. As we begin to wrap this up next few minutes, Keith, let's talk about for a second what partnerships may look like. And we've talked about here in the 30044 zip code and with New England, and I'm sure there's some similarities, but somebody may not have seen the other webinars. Talk to us how these partnerships would look. I think we're talking as much as possible church to church, but what does that mean? And what would you say to churches that may have some interest in establishing a missions partnership with the country of or a church in Peru?
Absolutely, absolutely, Steve. So when I think about a church engaging in Peru, I'm thinking of three ways. The first way, well, not the first way, but the first way of my list is pastor to pastor. We have a strategic relationship with an organization called Pastor Network Training. We have established schools out of Cusco, Peru, that we are going to be staffing with pastors who will go and train up to 80 pastors at a time. The wonderful thing about that is that strategy is transportable. It is free to go. So once a pastor gets trained in that, has some experience in it, we can take that to other parts of the country as these network opportunities allow. So pastor training is a big deal. And I will say that also they're ready to go to other countries with that strategy. Second in that list is church to church. We're looking for a Georgia Baptist church to do life with a Peruvian congregation. We want the pastors to know one another. We want the churches to learn the pastor's family, their needs, the context, their ministry, their community. We want them to learn cultural issues. We want them to share life and vision We want the congregations to share life and vision and all that that means. And it might mean that when you first go, you'll take one or two people with you, and you're getting to know the pastor in that congregation. It might not be a large group strategy. It might not be an event strategy. It might be something completely different that that church needs in that community. As Jerry talks about and as Joe talk about, there are so many things about doing life on that fundamental level. We have to think about it as if we're the ones receiving the team, because we have to think, what would we need if someone came to us and wanted to strengthen and encourage our church? What would really help us? And it's really not all that different once you put it into context, what they need as well. And then to the ends of the earth, there's several teams from the International Mission Board in Peru. We actually have a team associate from Georgia going to work with the teams that go into the Amazon and serve alongside some of the unreached people groups and communities on the Amazon. And so we have the opportunity to connect the church with that kind of an engagement as well. And so we're looking at going sometime with a partnership trip, Lord willing, February, spring, whatever the Lord allows, and beginning to introduce some folks. But in the meantime, we're also looking at beginning to connect pastors and churches online with one another. Let them have those conversations. Let them learn some Spanish through our Spanish for Missions, and let them learn some, help some folks in Peru improve their English, and in doing so, become friends and become partners in the gospel.
That's awesome. And I like all those levels. I'm especially intrigued by the church-to-church partnership. I know when I was in high school, I had a pen pal across the other side of the country, and this is much more than that, of course. But instead of just going and coming back and breaking a relationship, but you get an ongoing relationship where you're praying for this other congregation, for this pastor, you're discovering needs, you're going to meet specific needs, you're advancing the gospel, they're with the church, you're strengthening them. And so that can go on for years and years, ideally, I think. And know that you're making a difference, you're fulfilling the Great Commission through all the nations. Well, guys, I'd love to talk on and on, but again, this is an introduction. I'm trying to whet your appetite. More information is coming, so be watching for that. Live gatherings here locally, also throughout our region, through the Georgia Baptist Mission Board. You can contact any one of us, and we can assist you probably different ways, but we're all available. So let's just kind of go around and let you just say a quick parting word and give some contact information as we wrap up here. Joe, how about you? Give some contact information, final greetings, brother.
Great. Thanks again for this opportunity, and thanks Georgia churches, Southern Baptist churches, for supporting Lottie Moon Christmas offering. And one of the things that you can do is you can contact me at email is jbushing, BUSCHING, @imb.org.
And Jerry Arcorda, being local here, one of our pastors, or for our pastor in Northeast Georgia, if you want to have a pastor-to-pastor local conversation, Jerry would be a great resource, help you understand a little bit more about opportunities there. Jerry, give us a final word and give us contact information if someone would like to contact you.
Yes, well, mine is going to be easy to remember, I hope. You can contact me at jerrynewdestiny@gmail.com. I have some other emails, but that one is easy to remember. jerrynewdestiny@gmail.com. And like Brother Steve was saying, I'm available to talk to you and share with you the different things that can be done. I've made a lot of trips, and like they were saying, you can spend time in an urban setting, which many people will feel very comfortable, kind of like even places like over here. So sometimes when we think about missions, we think, wow, I want to go to Peru. I don't know what Peru is like or Lima is like, but there are places there that you can feel very comfortable, and churches that need your help. And there are, even close to in the Lima, Department of Lima, there are very rural areas where you can go and help in many ways, and from helping the pastor families and the church, and even physically speaking, yes, you can do a lot of stuff. So anyway, I'm available.
Good. And Jerry, you said something good. Hey, there's places you can be comfortable, but if you want to be stretched, there's those opportunities. And so you pray about what God wants to do, and what level of sacrifice. You understand everybody's in a different place, and I don't judge anybody on that. But that's a good word, Jerry. Hey, Keith, final word here real quick, and contact information.
You can contact me at kivey@gabaptist.org or call me by my cell, 706-809-9263. And I just want to quickly say that not only do we have Jerry focusing on the Lima area, we also have Sky Pratt of Prince Avenue Baptist Church focusing on Lima a little bit towards Cusco, Peru, and we have Robbie Brown from Danielsville Baptist Church working with us to focus on partnering with churches in the Arequipa area, which is the second largest city in Peru. So really excited about being on board with these guys and the churches they already know, and so excited about being a part of a partnership with men like Joe Bushing and the people that he serves with. It's been a real blessing. I just want to say, as you give to Lottie Moon this year, God has placed some choice folks doing some amazing work for him, and it is just been a joy to meet them and to walk with them and to talk to every one of the teams in Peru.
Very good. Well, those of you who have been watching all the way through, you're at about 20 minutes now. Thank you for taking time. I really appreciate it. Those inside our network, those outside. If you're inside the network, you know how to contact me. But if you're outside or you don't know, it's Steve at GMBA, as in Gwinnett Metro Baptist Association, gmba.org. Love to hear from you. I want to say to our pastors, I love you so much. Thanks for what you do. Thanks for your Missions Partnership. Keith, Joe, Jerry, thank all of you. And we will see all of you soon and hopefully in Peru. God bless. Take care.